Hi, this is Dee at Aloha Astro, and we're looking at a new moon in the cardinal water sign of Cancer today. It's July 5th, 2024, and that lunation occurs at 6:58 p.m. Eastern Time at 14 degrees 23 minutes of Cancer. Let's take a look at the forecast for the energy of this new moon, as well as the general trend for the next 2 weeks. New moon in Cancer, Friday, July 5th, invites you to nurture your mind, spirit, and body with patience, compassion, healing, and love, which you know you must have for yourself before you can be comfortable in giving or receiving the same with another. As the moon joining the Sun and Venus in Cancer form a minor grand trine aspect pattern with Mars and Uranus in Taurus and Saturn and Neptune, both retrograde in Pisces. The Cancer planets also form a T-square aspect pattern with Chiron in Aries and Pluto retrograde in Aquarius, as well as square aspects with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra, while Mercury in Leo opposes Pluto, stirring up past pain, grief, or loss, and possibly present fear, negativity, boundary or control issues, and ego or arrogance, which bring karmic lessons or decisions to bear in your romantic, family, friend, or work relationships. Jovial and expansive Jupiter in friendly Gemini is creating a plays well with others vibe to counteract that cranky T-square, as it interacts favorably with Mercury in Leo and Pluto in Aquarius, making it easier to approach friends and strangers alike for casual conversation or deeper dialogues. All the retrograde outer planets could be bringing issues of neglect, unmet needs, or a lack of appreciation for the things you or the other person have been taking for granted to the fore. And it is now time to say enough or it's not enough and change the situation through the application of gratitude or by initiating a more equal measure of sharing both the burdens and the rewards, while Mars and Uranus in Taurus form a minor grand trine with Venus in Cancer and Saturn in Pisces. The triggers in the transits are meant to get you unstuck, reveal the truth, and direct you toward creative thinking, healthier ways of relating, and a more sustainable and enjoyable future. All right, let's take a look at what's going on in the sky right now. And here we can see that Moon and Sun conjunction, not too far away from Venus, also in Cancer. Mercury is out ahead of them right now in Leo, and it is making a favorable aspect at the moment to Neptune. We've got good support going on between the Cancer planets and the Pisces planets. So we've got strong water energy in effect, which will increase the empathy and the sensitivity, greater appreciation for pleasure, beauty, comfort, security. All of those things would be activated. Also, psychic abilities and intuition might be a bit stronger at the moment, while we have that water energy tying into Mars conjunct Uranus in Taurus. I find that the sign of Taurus is actually really good at reading the energy of people, objects, the room when they walk in, because this is a very sensual sign. Not only does it have to do with how does something look, taste, sound, smell, feel, but that sixth sense is very strong when people have strong Taurus energy in their natal charts, as well as keen aesthetic sense. This conjunction is not tight yet, but as we go through the next 2 weeks, it will become tighter. Right now it is an applying aspect, and it's extremely activating. Mars is a physical planet. Uranus is a planet of uniqueness, individuality, change, impulse. When these two get together, particularly in a very sensual sign, sexual attraction may be heightened, as well as the willingness to take risks and approach people and get to know them. And while we do have a sextile at the moment between Venus, which is a planet of pleasure and beauty, and Mars, which is the physical side of sexuality, we've got a nice energy going on there for anyone who is looking for romance, wanting to date, anybody feeling romantic. That Neptune energy tying them together also increases both the sexual and the romantic overtones in relating. And for those who are not looking for love, this can also translate over to the financial side of life, to want to have more, to want to go spend what you do have in the pursuit of pleasure or comfort, of enjoying life, basically. And it is summer. Time to go take those trips, see family, make those memories. That's the general tone, while we have Cancer being the primary focus of the season. We are beginning to get a little bit of that Leo questing, adventuring quality to things. And there's a yearning right now with Mercury to Neptune. This may also be what prompts people to go after a dream or pursue whatever it is they desire or whoever they desire, because of that strong Mercury Neptune energy. And then we have Mercury to Jupiter, and Jupiter is in Gemini, which is very open and charming and communicative. So the most expensive planet is getting some extra backup with the planet of communication, which rules Gemini. And we've got Jupiter there in Gemini, interacting with Gemini's ruler in a bold and courageous fire sign. So this can light a spark of interest, bring in a bit more of the good humor or the playfulness, the flirtation that would lead to getting to know somebody, talking more, asking people out, making plans to go places. Very strong outgoing energy. And it does overcome what might be considered shyness with Saturn and Neptune in Pisces. It could be, while we have those planets retrograde, we look at the opportunities being presented now and think of times in the past where we didn't, and we lost out, where we didn't say yes to a date, where we didn't go spend money on something that would have been pleasurable, and instead said, oh no, I can't do that now. And maybe now the energy of those retrogrades would bring up certain regrets for not having taken past opportunities, so that when opportunities present themselves now, you would be more inclined to take them. Chiron, definitely the things that are going on underneath right now are surrounding fear, anger, pain, hurt, grief, anything that would involve Pluto. There may be a lot of fear about the future as well, because of Pluto in Aquarius, retrograding, soon to slide back into Capricorn for its last little foray into Capricorn for some time before it re-enters Aquarius. We're going to have a little bit of time in the fall where Pluto returns to Capricorn. And maybe this is just a general unrest and fear of what's going on in the world at large concerning safety and security for you on the individual level. But if there are things from the past that have not been resolved in family relationships or romantic relationships or the job setting, then it can definitely come up, resurface, and might need to be addressed. Let's take a look at the Sabian symbol for, we round up to 15 degrees. In a sumptuous dining hall, guests relax after partaking of a huge banquet. Keynote: the need that exists at an early stage of human growth to materialize the concept of fulfillment. This may be considered a curious symbolic scene following the preceding, for it pictures a scene of fulfillment, consciously or unconsciously, only in terms reminiscent of the Mohammedan picture of paradise, a place filled with all the good things earthly life provided, only more sparsely. It may also be that the symbol is a reference to the fact that what in European countries is seen rather broadly and spiritually as plenitude of being is usually related in the United States to the idea of plenty. We are hypnotized today by the ideal of physical abundance. Perhaps physical abundance is less mind-haunting than deprivation, and there may at times be a need to turn to superficial things for self-strengthening. This is the via negativa, negative way, already mentioned. Through satiety, a person learns to appreciate and desire asceticism. After months of boredom, the modern teenager in an ultra-modern progressive school is often ready to accept disciplined work. This is the last of the 5 symbols in the 21st sequence. It ends this part of the quest for individuality and the process of decision making on a note which indicates a phase of only temporary fulfillment. The darkness in the northeast, that's the preceding Sabian symbol, may have been too much for the consciousness at this stage of the great cycle. The mind yearns to translate what it has seen in purely physical terms. This is perhaps the keynote of American life, the materialization of the spiritual. And when I wrote the forecast, the constraints of space didn't permit me to go into the material versus spiritual or finding the balance between those. But we do have that going on with Saturn and Pisces, the realist and the idealist, both retrograding. Saturn and Neptune in Pisces, both retrograding, interacting with just about everything else in the chart. And the heavy water and earth energy often does point toward the manifestation on the material level, which is preceded by the belief in that thing coming into being. The spiritual comes before the material in terms of the manifesting energy. So in the forecast, what really stood out was, what are we appreciating, or are we being appreciated? And the issue of enough or not enough can be found in the Mars and Uranus conjunction in Taurus. This is the sign that says, I have. And you will either be looking at what you do have right now or what you feel you are lacking and do not have enough of. And this quickening energy of the combination of these two would incline you to make adjustments for that, to fill in where you're lacking, or to find something to fill in where you're lacking, or to put a stop to something that has become too much, whether it's overindulgence or perhaps people or entities that are taking too much from you. So it works on both sides there of the coin, that it's not just you. There's also the idea of relating while we have the lunar nodes in Aries and Libra, self and the partner, as well as the symbiosis that Cancer conveys, the idea of nurturing and caring and feeding that goes on between individuals. So nobody right now is in a vacuum, but it is necessary with this T-square that focuses on Chiron in Aries, very close to the lunar nodes, in Aries and Libra, which are squaring this new moon, to look at ourselves first, pay attention to ourselves first, and then we are ready for the interaction with others. And the new moon is often a time of retreat and seclusion while that moon loses the light and we go into darkness for a bit until the moon moves on to the next sign and we see that crescent return in the sky. Perhaps you can wait a day or two to make important decisions, but definitely time to think about things and think about the new beginnings or the changes that you would like to initiate after this holiday weekend. And do take care and stay safe on this holiday. And I will be here again in 2 weeks with a full moon forecast.